Welcome back to Game Talk from the Bench. I'm your host, Drew Barreto, and today I'm with my co-host, my uncle, Andrew Barreto. And we're at a weird time in the sports world. There's not much going on. NFL season ended. Free agency doesn't start until mid-March. We're at the All-Star break. Currently in the All-Star break. It's about to end for NBA. And then MLB is still finding its way on its startup. So not much to cover. But starting off in the NFL world, Derek Carr, he said he would unretire for the right situation. Now, obviously, like most players, he wants, the chance to win the Super Bowl. But is there a team that needs a quarterback that's got the roster to win a Super Bowl? I mean, the Raiders are obviously gonna draft someone number one. I don't know if Derek
Yeah.
wants to be the backup, although he loves the Raiders. I want him to come in and be some type of coach. Obviously he says he would, but also he could still play. But when it comes to other teams, I mean, I think of the Cardinals, they're in need of a quarterback. Don't think they have the roster to win a Super Bowl within the next year or two. Same thing with the Jets. I mean, I just don't know if there's an opportunity for Derek Carr to uh to join a team and win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's a tough one, especially I haven't heard of that. I know he mentions a little couple things here and there that he wants to unretire and come back, but this is a little different than Tom Brady, right? This is Derek Carr, I would think, yeah, he wouldn't go directly and be a starting quarterback, I don't think. I mean, I think they want to do that whole especially with the um, for the Raiders, anyways. I mean, yeah, like you mentioned, other teams. There's a possibility. I don't know how other teams are looking right now on the quarterback side. Like, do they want to? I know they call Philip Rivers. Well, Derek, he could be more in shape, and I think that would be a good call. He's not that far retired from the NFL. I mean, he put up numbers. Just his shot at any playoff games is on the. What did he have? A couple games there. But yeah, as far as with the Raiders, I mean, it could be something. I doubt it. I doubt it. But yeah, we've seen Philip Rivers come out after what, I don't know how many years he was out, come off the 5
5 crazy.
years and come
5 years,
back to
pretty
be the
crazy.
starter right off the
Yeah,
bat. Like 1 week of practice and then boom, he's in a playoff game, right? And he played,
they're pretty
he played
solid.
fine. I think he
Yeah,
played fine. I mean, there was
gave his
opportunities
team an
there.
opportunity to win multiple games. So
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, he did what he was supposed to do, and um, he had another agenda, right? His insurance. He needed to have insurance for his whole family and the 10 people involved there.
at the cost
So
of his Hall of Fame being taken
delayed.
another 5 years, yeah, delayed.
Yeah, he's delaying it further, and why not? He had a plan, but um, as for Carr, yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I know the Raiders. They just got, I don't know if you saw any of those clips when they introduced the coach Clint Kubiak. He had some Hall of Famers there. He had some all-time Raider greats. Jim Plunkett was there, Rich Gannon. I like what he said right off the bat. I don't know if you saw that when he walked in and everybody is there. It seems like they do it for every coach, right? I've seen it done multiple times where he walks into the I don't know, it's the main office or whatever. Everyone's surrounding him, all the personnel and people who work in the organization, giving him a round of applause. And Charles Woodson was there, Marcus Allen, Mike Haynes, Jim Plunkett, Rich Gannon, to welcome him to the Raider Nation. And one of the things he was very thankful, and he said it's time to get to work. That was
Yeah,
one thing I took away.
no, yeah, most definitely. No, the legends were there, and someone had pointed it out that the last time the legends were there for a coach hiring was when they brought
Right,
John Gruden back
right.
in 2018. But
Yeah.
since they brought Gruden back, none of the legends were back
Okay.
until this hire. So I don't know if that's
I
telling
didn't
us
know
something like,
that.
hey,
Yeah.
this is the guy. But yeah, no, he was very thorough in his press conference. He made sure he wanted Max Crosby to stay, which we're going to talk about Max Crosby in a little bit. But yeah, he talked about the commitment to excellence, right? All the Hall of Famers, the championships, the history that the Raiders have. He just said it's an honor to be part of the organization. And he even talked about how, or there's even this article saying how excited he is to work with Tom Brady. So it's it's good to hear, good to see that the Raiders, yeah, they had to wait on it. They had to wait on it. So obviously the other coaching positions had to be waiting on it. And a lot of great coaches got taken, but he's slowly but surely building his staff with guys he's
Yeah.
got connections to. They promoted within the Raiders defensive line coach was Rob Leonard, a highly respected coach. He worked under Mike McDonald and Patrick Graham, obviously, the former Raiders defense coordinator, and he's got a lot of respect. And they promoted him to the defensive line coach. Obviously, some people thought, well, maybe that was to please Maxx Crosby, but honestly, I think that's just kind of the obviously Jim Schwartz, the current defensive coordinator with the Browns. He was an option, but he's still obviously technically with the Browns, and so they're finding ways to fill in the positions. They hired an offensive coordinator. Just passed it. Andrew, well, it was a former Seahawks QB coach, Andrew Janoko. He'll be the offensive coordinator. So Kubiak, he's doing his work. He's ready, like you said, put the work in. Right, he had his press conference, and then he celebrated with the Seahawks, and then he's back in Vegas.
Right. Yeah.
This last Thursday, and he's already building his staff. So he's been a busy man.
He's been busy. Yeah, he's been busy indeed. And I noticed there's a Mike McCoy is assistant head coach. I'm on Raiders.com. Mike McCoy, we know him from being a Chargers head coach back in the day. But yeah, he's putting together his this. I'm looking at the experience here. 23 years, 14 years, 17 years. Joe Woods, 21 years. So there's some guys who been around the block. They're not just new to the NFL, and hopefully everything comes together and they put together a good squad once free agency and all those when they're able to make moves comes around.
Yeah, you brought it up right before we talked about this episode. People are just always trying to find a story to tell in this time of season in the
Yeah.
NFL, right? When there's not much going on. And that story so far has been Maxx Crosby and his future
Yeah.
with the Raiders. There's been reports saying he wants out of Vegas. There's been reports saying he's willing to stay in Vegas. He's tried to stay clear of all of the trade rumors and the flames, but I just can't see him going anywhere. And because I see a bunch of mock drafts, and I just think these are terrible mock drafts because
Yeah.
he is one of the best edge rushers when it comes to both pass defense and rush defense. I mean, he is all over the field, and he plays 100% of the snaps. Now he's had a lot of injuries the past couple of years. Do I think he will be playing 100% of the snaps? No, I think he'll be probably closer to 70% of snaps per game. But I just can't see the Raiders moving on. Clint Kubiak, I know he said he wants to keep Max here, and I think it's true. I mean, you don't find stars often, right? First round picks, your draftees aren't guaranteed to be
Yeah.
hits in the NFL, right? They're not. Max Crosby was a fifth round pick, right? And you look at first round pick Cleveland Farrell that the Raiders had in the first round. It's the third overall pick,
Oh, geez.
and he
Yeah.
didn't pan out for the Raiders. Now, obviously, he's still in the league, but he didn't pan
Yeah.
out, and their fifth round pick did. So it's like you can't pass on the guys that are gonna perform for guys that who might not even pan out a year or two after
Yeah.
they get drafted. And so for a young new head coach and a team that's in a rebuild, you want to keep your star players, especially when you only have very few. Him, Brock Bowers, Ashton Jeanty. You need to keep these guys
Yeah.
together if you want a shot at winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think let's not do that mistake again, right? John Gruden, like you mentioned earlier, last time he was introduced as the Raiders head coach, he ended up making a move on Khalil Mack, and getting rid of him. And the whole time he was coach, he was looking for what? An edge rusher. So while he had one right in his hands, and who knows all this, you hear different stories here and there. All I know is he was not a Raider, and he played excellent with the Bears, excellent with the Chargers. He's still playing at a high level. In my opinion, I think that he could argue he's going to be a Hall of Famer. But like for Maxx Crosby, when you talk about Maxx Crosby, I mean, that's what most Raider fans know, right? He's the main man. He's Mad Max. He's the leader of that defense, and I find that hard to say that. He's up for trades, or he's up for trades for 2 second rounders or something. I just find that hard to believe, especially when those draft picks could, like you said, lead to possibly nothing.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Khalil Mack, Defensive Player of the Year with the Raiders, and he gets traded for multiple first round picks, which none of them panned out. I mean, Josh
Yeah.
Jacobs was one of them. I believe. And obviously, he's one of the better top 10 running back in the league. But other than that, Jonathan Abrams out of the league. Cleveland Farrell,
Oof.
he's a traveler. I mean, it's just yeah, you don't
Yeah,
want to trade your star
he's been on at
players.
least 3 or 4 teams that I know. I think is he on the Niners now? I don't know.
I believe he's currently on the Niners.
He's currently making a cameo on the Niners. Coming in every third down or whatever it may be. But yeah, that's not somebody you don't give a Hall of Fame player up for some guys who may have this upside that you're crossing your fingers on. I just think build around, get him some, build that defense up. You have that you got a young core there, like you mentioned with Brock Bowers, Genty. You throw in a young quarterback already. If he's definitely the first pick of the draft, which right now, like who else do the Raiders have right
Yeah,
now? He's the best quarterback
and
right now, I would
and
say.
that's another thing that it's just the vendetta against the Raiders, right, in the NFL. Obviously everyone loves Fernando Mendoza. He's the best quarterback in the class, no doubt about
Yeah.
it. But people don't think he should go to the Raiders. Why? Because they say the Raiders don't have the team. Well, of course they don't have the team, but that's why you still need to draft him. You can't just pass up the
Yeah.
opportunity. It's the same thing
Yeah.
that happened with Joe Burrow in 2020, right? They didn't have an offensive line, right? And it showed, right? In his rookie year and in the Super Bowl. They didn't have the offensive line. However, what did they do? They started to build the team around him. Now, obviously, he's been dealing with injuries and they haven't had much success. But it's like the Raiders have a lot of cap space, a lot of draft picks. Why I don't understand trading your potential quarterback of the future and waiting. You have players now. Like I said, Maxx Crosby is now. Brock Bowers now. You can't just keep passing that on. And it's frustrating to see how all these teams don't want to see Fernando Mendoza in the Raiders uniform. I don't get all these news reporters and whatnot. It's like it's the most obvious pick almost in history. So it's like, come on, like guys,
Yeah.
like stop trying to push a
It,
different
it,
narrative.
it would have to be a pretty big haul for the number one pick, I would think. And I don't know if there's going to be a lot of teams that are motivated enough to make that move. We hired an offensive coordinator, a Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator as the head coach, and we've seen what he's done with Sam Donald in his quest to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league and Super Bowl champion. Um, so we're going to have faith in our young coach here and the staff he's putting together to, once Mendoza's drafted, to groom him and make him into that, to that franchise quarterback. I know they're the picks that the Raiders when they have chosen a quarterback in the past, it has not. We already know that, right?
Yeah.
Jamarcus Russell. We could even go back to Mark Wilson, and I forgot. I think that was '80s. He did not pan out as well. He was a starting quarterback, but then a veteran came in like Jim Plunkett and took over the reins. But yeah, so they don't really have a good history of drafting quarterbacks in the first round. So, Todd I was going to say Marijuanovich because that's what he got caught doing. Marinovich, he was supposed to be the new up and coming quarterback out of USC. I'm dating myself, and these guys' names this is the 90s, 80s, and 90s quarterbacks. High draft picks, first rounds, never panned out. I think Marinovich ended up playing in a championship game, if I'm remembering correctly. But other than that, just like to do drugs and chose that over football.
Yeah, so obviously, no draft pick is guaranteed, but you Raiders are eventually gonna have to hit on one, right? They have to, and so
I
they
mean,
just
I think
they
it's
gotta take the
time.
shot. I think
I
it's
think it's
time.
time. This guy, like the way he carries himself, the way he talks, very, his parents very religious, and he says all the right things. He never talked down about anybody. He's just like I said, just carrying himself well right now, and how do you not to put him together with Clint Kubiak, who just from what I've heard, he's talking, saying all the right things. So maybe put those two together, and let's see if we could turn it around in a couple of years, like Mike McDonald.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely, definitely. Um, but yeah, moving on to some releases. Dolphins are making some moves. They need to free up some money. So what do? They're releasing five-time All-Pro wide receiver Tyreek Hill.
Wow.
He'll be entering the free agency market. Will he return back to Kansas City? Who knows? It's a good question. They're also releasing two-time Pro Bowler Bradley Chubb, who could be someone the Raiders could get alongside Maxx Crosby. We had talked about it a little bit. Get some help, get Maxx Crosby some help on the edge. Bradley Chubb could be an option for the Raiders. They got a lot of cap available. But for Tyreek, it's an interesting. Obviously, he left the Chiefs. Chiefs ended up winning two more Super Bowls, and yeah, his career in Miami. I mean, he's been playing great, obviously, but it hasn't been the way that he's wanted. Then obviously he had the season-ending leg injury last year, and now he's a free agent. So it's like, does he come full circle in his Chris Paul moment and return back home to Kansas City? Who knows? But there will be many teams on the market looking for a guy like Tyreek Hill. We'll see if he'll still have it, which he probably will. But who knows? Maybe he might retire. Who we don't know. But it's gonna be very interesting to see if and where he ends up landing.
Yeah, it's interesting. That that's a big name, right, to be released, and you just always remembering back to how effective he is on the field, and it's like, okay, now he's 32, so he turns 32 in March. He's a free agent for the first time in 10 years. And yeah, we'll have to see what he ends up doing. He's not getting younger, and a major injury last year that kept him out, all 2025, and um, so yeah, maybe he ends up saying, "Let's go, Mahomes. Let's do this again," because Mahomes is always looking for receivers and some kind of weapon, right? I mean, that's what they lacked last year, offensively. To just get him a weapon that he could use, and so yeah, it'd be interesting to see, as the draft comes around, as free agency comes around, and see all these moving pieces.
Yeah, no, and speaking of the draft, today, I mean, today was the day where teams could franchise tag players.
Hmm.
Obviously, a lot of discussion on players who might potentially get franchised. No one got franchised today so far. Obviously, it's 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, but no one's been tagged so far. But yeah, that's been opened up. So hopefully by next week we can talk more about people who got franchised. But some other news: wide receiver Robert Woods signed a one-day contract with the Rams to retire after 13 years in the NFL. Obviously, he was a Super Bowl. I believe he was on that Super Bowl team in 2022, 21. Could be wrong.
Hmm.
Um, and other news.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
what's his name?
with the 2021 Rams, but he
Yeah, he
tore his
was.
ACL during the regular season.
Okay, that makes more sense why I couldn't remember him in the game. But yeah, and so he retires. I mean, obviously you would love retiring a champ, but and so he does. So good for him. Mike Evans will return to 2026 or for 2026, but he will explore free agency. So the longtime Buccaneer might find himself a new home elsewhere. Could it be the Raiders? I mean, who knows? Clint Kubiak might like himself an experienced veteran, and so. But yeah, as we get into more free agency, I believe I want to say it's the 23rd of March, or the 23rd or the 13th of March is when free agency in the NFL begins. Don't quote me on that. I just remember that in past years. Yeah, I believe it's 23rd. It's a Monday. Um, but yeah, so free agency is coming up, but right now we're in that month where it's just a bunch of rumors, right? And
Yeah,
so,
rumors, just trying to bring some stuff to light, or just something to talk about, right? And Evans, you mentioned, he's 32 as well. So some of these big name receivers, they've been around a little bit. They're a little aged, and um, yeah, it's all about getting a veteran receiver that can help immediately. Especially for a young. I wouldn't be mad at that if the Raiders ended up trying to get something like that for a young. We're already putting Mendoza in as the starter, so we'll see.
yeah, no, that would be great. I mean, if you watch Mendoza and his college football, he loved to throw back shoulder passes to his big body receivers. And so having thrown to Mike Evans or thrown to Brock Bowers, I mean, could be a nice connection. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. But that is all we have for the NFL. Moving on to the NBA, it is currently still All-Star break. Um, However, when you see this episode comes out on Wednesday the 18th, and games start back up Thursday the 19th. Oh, I could be wrong. There might be games tomorrow, but I don't believe so. Um, But currently, our standings go as in the East, Pistons still lead 40 and 13. I mean, wow, they've been just as good, if not, yeah, they've been just as good as the Thunder. Um, Followed by the second seed Celtics at 35 and 19. Knicks third seed at 35 and 20. Cavaliers have been climbing up a little bit. They're 34 and 21. Followed by the fifth seed Raptors at 32 and 23. 76ers are the sixth seed at 30 and 24, and then into the play-in currently is the Magic and the Heat. They are the seventh and eighth seed, and then the Hornets and the Hawks. Oh my goodness, the Hornets are on a 9-1 in the last 10. I mean, they might find their way into the eighth and the seventh seed. They're about through two and a half, three and a
They've
half
been
games
hot, man.
behind.
It's that
They've been
Con
hot.
Kneppel.
Con Kneppel, um, Brandon Miller,
Yeah,
LaMelo
Brandon.
Ball. I'm trying to think of their center. But yeah, no, they've been rocking. As for the Bucks, still should have traded Giannis. Didn't happen, but yeah, the Bucks out of it. Um, and in the West, Thunder still lead. They're up 4 games on the Spurs, who are the second seed. Then the Nuggets, they got Jokic back to 35 and 20. Rockets, apparently Katie's burner account got leaked, and he's been saying some not nice things about his teammates, Jabari Smith
Uh-oh.
and
Big shocker.
Alfred Alfred Sengun. They're the fourth seed. Lakers are the fifth seed, followed by the sixth seed Timberwolves, who traded Mike Conley and then he re-signed with them after he got released. And then the seventh seed Suns are 32 and 23, followed by the eighth seed Warriors at 29 and 26, and then the Trailblazers and Clippers are the ninth and 10th seed, both at, we'll just call it 27 wins.
Is he
And
calling Sengun a whiner?
we called it. I believe one of them was saying how your star player can't play offense or defense. Um,
Wow.
that was one thing. I don't have it pulled up right now, but yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
But
Hey, Sengun's he's an awesome. He's a good player. It's just sometimes, yeah, stop whining to the refs and get your butt back on defense because your guy's about to score.
yeah, yeah. And as for the All Star game, I'll be completely honest. I don't watch anything because let's say back in almost 10 years ago, we'll call it 8 years ago, All Star game used to be prime time 7 o'clock,
Yeah,
or it started at 5 o'clock.
that's what I
Um,
thought. I
Dude,
got
they
home
had
like
these 3-point contests for one by Damian Lillard, which I thought was impressive. I know he's coming off the Achilles injuries. He's had a lot of time to recover, but he won the 3-point contest. Um, but that was at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Same with, and then I believe the dunk contest followed after that, or vice
yeah.
versa. I don't know. I couldn't even tell you what the time that these events
I
happened.
even told my son, I said, because he told me, oh, it's over. Because I figured, he had a basketball game. We'd get home and then we would watch, the Saturday night at least, But then he's like, oh, it's over already. I go, it's 5 o'clock. What do you mean it's over? And I was just got home and sure enough, it was over. I missed everything, the three-pointer, the slam dunk. I guess it was good. I missed the slam dunk because there's nothing really out there that I mean I can't even name who was in
I
the
don't know who won. I couldn't even tell you who
it's
won.
Jason Richardson's son, right?
Did he? I don't think he won.
No, he
Um,
didn't win, but
oh,
I'm
he
just
didn't
saying he
win.
was he was in it. Jackson Hayes was in it, but I mean, a couple of the other guys, I don't know who they were, but or I can't
Yeah.
drawing a blank on the winner there, but I heard just from what I've seen the clips, some pretty basic stuff, and some that maybe they should have invited Matt McClung. He had a couple of things brewing.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's brutal. Yeah, center and Jackson Hayes. Jace Richardson had a pretty nasty fall during one of
Yeah.
his attempts. Like I said, I couldn't even tell you the winner. I mean, they don't have it here on the news page for the NBA. I believe it was someone from, I want to say the Heat. The
Yeah,
Heat?
yeah,
Did someone from the Heat win? Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, no, and
yeah.
then
Yeah,
obviously, like I said,
it's Kashad Johnson,
yeah,
if I'm
I
saying
don't
it
know who
right.
that. I don't know who that is. But
Oh,
yeah,
Carter Bryant was the other guy. So he defeated Carter Bryant from the Spurs, the final round, and he ended up winning. So Carter Bryant was in it. I saw a couple of his clips. So yeah, slam dunk is back to the for a while it's been the 3-point show, right? Like everybody,
yeah. And it still is. I mean,
Curry,
even yeah,
Laver.
Curry even said next year he'll participate in there. He'll try to get Clay, KD, Devin
Ooh,
Booker,
that'd be
Dame.
great.
So that might be awesome to see. But yeah, and as for the games, for one, I didn't know how the format worked. I didn't know there was two USA teams. And then my dad calls me around like I want to say maybe like a little before or maybe a little bit after 5 o'clock, and he's like, "Oh, are you watching the All Star game?" I was like, "Oh, did it just start?" He's like, "No, it's about to end." I'm like, "What?"
Oh boy.
It was over by 5 o'clock. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, dude, what's up? I mean, like just like the Pro Bowl, they were terribly advertised. Like I didn't know what time they started. I'm just so used to, you know, when the All Star game was worth watching and it was like prime time hours. It would like end by seven. Um, it would end by like 7 o'clock, Western time. And so like that's like what 10 o'clock Eastern, or something like that. Um, but yeah, no, they just started so early, and I didn't even bother trying to watch it. So I
By
don't
the
know.
time you settled in, you find out everything was over. It's like, I mean, I didn't even look up to see what the what was the latest, who did what, but
I know
oh
Anthony
well,
Edwards won the
we'll
MVP,
see.
I believe.
I was just about to ask, did somebody get MVP with
Yeah, I
three
believe
different
Anthony
teams?
Edwards won the MVP. I know Kawhi Leonard had himself quite the game. Um, but yeah, I mean, brutal. But other news wise, Zach LaVine, he underwent season-ending surgery. The Kings guard will be he's done for the year. I mean, Kings franchise, man. I mean,
Whoa.
how quick you can fall. They were the third seed back in 23, right? Obviously, they faced the best basketball player in the world and Steph Curry, and they lost in 7 games. And then it was just downhill after that. For some reason, they fired Mike Brown. Then they traded Darren Fox away.
Yeah.
Well, first, I mean, before that, they traded Tyrese Halliburton. Then they traded Darren Fox away. I mean, it's just like
Hey,
brutal.
that's what one of the greatest of all times will do to the franchise. That's what Curry does in Game 7. Is ends up, he ends up just, sending your team home, trading players, getting, start over again. And wow, the Kings are. I mean, this is probably the lowest I've seen. I mean, I don't have any statistics on me, but 14 losses in a row, 12-44. They're last in the West. Actually, I'm looking at the Wizards, who are the last in the East, and Sacramento Kings they have the worst record in the NBA. Yeah, wow, how things have changed, and it seems like yesterday where De'Aaron Fox was unstoppable to guard. He was hard to guard in that playoff game against the Warriors, and they were just going back and forth, and looked like they had home court advantage, and they were going to knock the Warriors out, and wow. Now we come to today's day, 2026, and they are the worst in the league. That's, yeah, wow.
Yeah, yeah. Other news: Chris Paul, he was traded, but it's over. He officially retired. He retired, and it's brutal. Legendary guard of the game. Didn't get the quiet farewell tour he wanted. Obviously, he returned back to LA and was obviously his final year. Didn't play. Um, was like on the team, but was not on the team at the same time. Gets traded and eventually he retires. It's unfortunate he never got his ring, right? But like I said, he left his mark on the game. He's one of everyone knows who Chris Paul is. I mean, unless you're a new gen person, everyone knows who Chris Paul is. I mean, that's just the
Yeah.
guard. He was so good at one point that he got vetoed a trade to to join Kobe in LA.
The Lakers,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so Chris Paul, it's unfortunate he didn't get his farewell tour that he would
I
most likely have wanted, but now he doesn't have to worry about playing basketball. He could just relax and have enjoy his family time.
He can make some more State Farm commercials. He'll be fine, huh? Yeah, he just didn't. He's just one of those phenomenal guards there, and everywhere he went, New Orleans, Clippers, of course, they had that whole, I forgot what they were called, but him and um, DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin, and those were the guys that were giving the Warriors. It was hard to get past those guys back in those days, right? That was what the Warriors were trying to get over that hump, because they kept losing to the Clippers. And then eventually, once they got past them, they surpassed them, got a championship. Then it's all
And then
history from
Chris
there.
Paul
But
joined the Rockets, almost had the Warriors on the ropes there. He got
he almost
injured.
had them
They
again.
fell short again.
So I remember we were talking about what the goat Steph Curry does. He went to the Clippers. They got disbanded that whole team. He went to the Rockets. That whole team was gone. It seemed like every team Chris Paul went to and played the Warriors in the playoffs, it was okay. It's over with. Trade Harden, trade Paul. Trevor Ariza's gone. They just tried
Yeah.
everything, right? He just came up short. He's Hall of Fame career, just missing um, the ring there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's hard to stop the chef.
People try, it's just not.
People tried.
You
Most
just
fail.
can't do it.
90% of them fail. A couple of one.
And
But
you've seen the Warrior games when he is not playing. I'm just like
yeah.
that's the future right there.
Yeah, no, it was brutal. I had went to the game, the final game before the All-Star break against the Spurs, and they were up
Okay,
16 at one point.
yeah, that's
They were
right.
looking good, but they only had like 7 guys available, and they just ran out of gas. The tank went
Yeah.
empty. Tank went empty. Spurs came back, and they won it.
And the Spurs, they have a good team. I mean, yeah,
They
I
do.
expect
They
them
do. I
to
mean,
be
they were on
going.
the backside of a back-to-back.
Hmm,
However, everyone played, right? Wemby played, De'Aaron Fox played. I mean, all their
yeah,
guys played. And the Warriors, obviously, their G League team, they went out there, they gave them everything they had, and
yeah. I
they fell
mean,
short.
you started looking for, hey, who's going to score? Who's going to bail us out? Number 30's not playing. He easily, scored about 9 quick points, with a few threes, but yeah, that wasn't there, and they were just, searching for who are they going to give it to? Pat Spencer, Guy Santos, who was going to do something? Every time I saw Draymond Green shoot, I go, "Oh, come on,
He had a
that's
good game. He
not
had
that's
17
not the
points that. He
option."
almost had a
No,
triple
yeah,
double.
don't get
He
me
almost had a
wrong.
triple double.
He plays great, but I'm just like that was not for the option there.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, they're getting reinforcements. Steph will be back, should be back Thursday, so I'm excited to watch that game. Porzingis should be playing. Seth Curry hopefully is back soon. So the Warriors are getting some reinforcements. So we'll see if they can make themselves a run and give themselves better playoff positions. But that is all for the NFL, not the NFL, the NBA. Moving into MLB. Obviously, spring training is right around the corner. I believe this Friday is when games start. I'm pretty positive. Obviously, the World Baseball Classic is coming up in March, and but as of right now, I mean, just transactions are going on. Padres are on a sale, right? The Padres are trying to find a new owner. Um, so AJ Preller, the GM, limited with money, he's trying to find some way to add players, and he's been doing that pretty good job of that. He got himself an extension with the team, but he's made some moves. He signed a free agent pitcher, Griffin Canning, to a deal. He also signed free agent pitcher Walker Buehler to a minor league contract. Um, he also signed more people. He also signed Herman Marquez. I mean, AJ Pro has been a busy man. Who else did they sign? They also signed Ty France to a minor league deal. I mean, he's just been trying to fill in these little gaps in the team. They also signed Nick Castellanos. He was released from Philly. They got him on a minimal contract. Philly's paying all of his um contract. I mean, he's just trying to find a way to keep this team in playoff contention with the limited money he's given. And so, props to them. But otherwise, just a lot of transactions, right? Teams are trying to find spring training guys. Guys who could potentially make their roster. And so, I'm looking at all these transactions. It's just people signing contract to minor league contracts and whatnot. No big trades. I already did. I talk about Paul Goldschmidt re-signed with the Yankees. I don't think we covered that because that happened. Well, maybe I did. Um, but yeah, no, it's just a lot of like I said, a lot of signings. And then that's about it. I mean, like I said, we're at time. Baseball, we're kind of waiting on the World Baseball Classic to start. Spring training hasn't quite started yet. It's been free. It's been the off season for quite some time.
Yeah.
Um, But we're just waiting. We're waiting to see.
Waiting for some more news, some more transactions to go down, and for something to for basketball, the second half to get started. Um, Followed by playoffs and that kind of stuff, and it should be. I think the NBA is going to be exciting. Like I said, Wimby, you got Wimby there, you got OKC still. Although I think Shea's been out for a little while.
Shay's been out. I
Uh,
think he'll still continue to be out for a little
yeah,
bit after the break. So
yeah. So you're starting to see
things
these
things
younger
could
up
get
and coming
interesting.
guys. So yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. We'll have more to talk about in the coming weeks.
Yeah, we're just trying to fill the voids right now. But yeah, that is all for today. Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget we're on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify. We record episodes on Tuesday. I get them out every Wednesday around. Hmm, try to get them out as early as possible. But mostly by like 4 o'clock. I try to get them out by. And then I get post outs on the weekend. So yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for liking the videos, watching. And until next time, stay ready.